Another thing I think that people are interested in is, and I guess the context around it are players like Shaden Sharp, players like Jaden Hardy. So, two different paths, right? Both of those guys were consensus lottery picks. Shaden doesn't end up playing a minute for Kentucky. Jaden Hardy goes to the G League. Shaden Sharp's kind of like a wild card in terms of his draft hasn't fell. I mean, we're not really sure. Maybe he's top five. Maybe he slips to mid, maybe post lottery. But Jaden Hardy seems to have fallen off a cliff in terms of consensus draft picks. Should players that are already deemed, Patrick Baldwin Jr. is another one, deemed to be a lottery pick? Is there some sort of debate now on in terms of whether they should actually play in college or go to the G League or go the Shaden Sharp path?
Well, I speak from a former executive's perspective. I think they should play somewhere. I think it's one thing to try to manipulate draft stock and potentially hide things like that. But at the end of the day, as you know, Tristan, in fact, in just a couple of weeks, they're going to be up on a court in Las Vegas with ESPN and NBA TV and all these groups there, and they're going to have to perform. So
Yeah.
I think, especially as a teenager, taking a year off and not playing is not something I would advise. Now, I really like what the NBA has done with the G League Ignite. That was one of my criticisms of the league, or things I think the league could have done better earlier, instead of letting, and I'm going back a ways here, but instead of letting Brandon Jennings go play in Italy and Emmanuel Mudiay go play in China, recently LaMelo Ball go play in Australia, a lot of us executives in the league were saying, why don't we keep these guys here? It's better from a fan and marketing perspective. It's better for the players developmentally. It's easier to recruit and evaluate them. And this is what the players want. Those guys, 18, 19 years old, didn't want to go live overseas by themselves and things like that. So I bring it up because I think the league's done a terrific job with the G League Ignite. Just look at last year's draft. I believe they had two of the top seven picks. Jalen Green, who I think is going to be a star among the scoring leaders in the NBA someday, and then Jonathan Kuminga, who, talented young developmental player for the Warriors, got some run in the playoffs on the NBA champion. And this year, Dyson Daniels will be another lottery pick. So I think it's good to have options. Shaden Sharp's situation was unique. And the final, I guess, point I'll make on Shaden, Trista, is that he is the kind of player as an executive that keeps you up at night. And what I mean by that is it scares you to take him because you don't have a body of work. And it also scares you to pass on him because of the talent. He's talented enough. His highlight film is incredible. That could end up being the best pick in the draft. But that's why it's scary and hard to be an executive. At this point, it'd be impossible to say either way where his career ends up.